Alright, hey traders, in today's video we're going to look at the Dow Jones 30, we're going to look at the Russell, look at the Nasdaq, look at the S&P 500 and see what's happening from today. Yesterday I said the market's going to go up, that's exactly what has happened. We had a nice update today, it's moved to the high side, but will it last? Let's get into it and let's see what happens. Alright traders, so in today's video I want to talk more about what's happening in the market. Before I do, this is general advice only. The disclaimer is, especially right now, it is very, very, very risky and it's not suitable for every trader, okay? And you need to be very emotionally controlled when it comes to that. Anyway, do not take a trade unless you're 100% happy with the absolute worst case scenario with every trade. And I mean the worst case scenario, because if you're bullish and the market crashes, then you're wiped out. So that's not a disclaimer, that's being intelligent with your investing. And the way that I like to do that is I like to cap my investments between 1% to 2% of my entire account. So the worst case scenario is I lose everything on that trade, 1% to 2%, not 0.5%. Make sense? Anyway, that's what I do when it comes to money management. Let's actually go through here first. Let's start with the Dow Jones 30. Yesterday I brought out a video and said that the market's likely to rise, and that's exactly what happened. We had a nice rise to the high side. And as you can see, we're at a point right now, where the market has been where the market's had a nice rise today. And if I look at the 3-month view here, and I just bring that over just a little bit, let me just bring this up through here. All right, there we go there, and let's actually just blow this thing up. I'm just gonna blow that up now, so we can have a good look at this S&P 500. How you can see we had a nice update through here. We see the stochastics coming down through here, pointing up nicely, and we're getting some volume. But here's the thing I want you to take notice of, okay? If you look at the volume in itself, okay, the volume in itself, you can see it. This moving average here is an average to show the buying and the selling and how many bought and sold and all that sort of stuff, and it's determined of what's actually happening in the market at that time. And it's a 50-day moving average on the stochastics I'm using. And if this here was a really good strong move, you'd want to see some decent volume behind it, right? Makes sense, right? It means there's a lot more movement in that than just not. So you can see there's a few spikes behind it. Here was a big volume here, big volume here. We definitely had a big volume spike here, and then another one here, and so on and so forth. Makes sense? So, but you want to be able to see, you want to be able to get volume. You want to start to get volume a bit more above the volume there. You want to get the volume above the average there, and that's going to show there's a lot of buyers there. But that, to me, there, it's showing that even though the market's going up, there's not a lot of supporting evidence behind that. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at there when it comes to that. Now let's look at the S&P 500 here. Okay, now the S&P 500 once again did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Once again, had a nice update as well too. We are getting to this point where it is right now, and if we bring up say the trend lines and stuff like that, I know it looks really messy, but what I'm looking at here is there's a nice trend line coming up through here. As you can see, it's been there for quite some time. We got a bit of support level that broke the support level here, ran up. We're at this level where we are right now. Okay, but and this is where we are at right now. Let me take everything off the screen, and we've rallied up. Okay, now one thing I want you to keep an eye on for is that once again this is basically a head and shoulder formation here. Okay, we made a higher trough. This is a lower trough. If we form a lower peak here, then we will be having more downside to come. Okay, if we form a lower peak here, then this is likely to happen. Moving forward, okay, because it's just what's happening in the market. So, but I'm not too confident on this move to the high side, and let me explain the reason why. If you go to, let's start with the Russell. Okay, let's look at the Russell. Look at the Russell here. It had a big gap up, and whenever do you see the Russell gap and hardly ever fill? This one here gapped and filled later on. This one here gapped. And then a few days later it filled. This one here gapped and it filled. So this one here gap, didn't really fill it, but that's actually a bit of a reversal pattern there actually. a gap fill. So this one here had a big gap. Not only did that have a big gap, but look at this one here. Okay, the Nasdaq. Oh, wrong one. The Nasdaq, right? The Nasdaq also had a big gap up as well too, a big massive gap up. And so even with the Nasdaq, right, you can see the past. I can't actually see a gap apart from this small little gap here, continuation gap, but I can't actually see any gaps that haven't actually been filled. So I'm not too quite sure about this move up. So you're looking at that there, but then if you go through and look at the SPY, okay, this is the SPY here, and obviously the SPY also had a big gap up as well too, big gap up and then continued rising high where we are right now. Now if you're looking at this SPY and you're looking at that, you can actually see there's a bit of a trend line going through there. That's actually not valid anymore, so let's take that off. And you can see by looking at the SPY that if we go and we have a trend line going through here of all these lows, you can see that's what's happening right now, right? We've had all this support through here, and then it's broke down, and now we're running back up to this. So I would not be too surprised to see this thing falter, close the gap, and then continue down through there. Where we are right now, we're actually seeing the moving averages where they are right now. We're actually seeing the moving averages pointing down, and that's actually quite a bearish setup there as well too. Looking at the other ones here as well too, tranny, that's the incline there. Advances decliners. We had a nice little pop to the high side on the tranny transportation average, and so on and so forth. So what I'm looking at here, guys, especially looking at the SPY, is I'm actually looking at obviously a pop to the high side. That's exactly what's happened. But if you look at what's happening here, okay, if you look what's happening on the chart here, on the chart, what are we seeing? We're seeing higher trough, higher trough, higher trough, higher trough. We had basically a double top or even like a head and shoulder formation. It broke out, it created a lower trough through here. If this forms a lower peak through here, it's at the resistance now as well too. We're getting the moving averages actually pointing down as well. Okay, so again, the moving averages pointing down as well. If indeed this forms a lower peak, this is likely to break these lows here and start moving to the downside of what this is happening. Okay, so that's what I see on the market right now. Again, there's nothing guaranteed here, but that's what I'm seeing here, looking on the SPY for that, and obviously looking at all the indexes for that. All right, guys, this is John Howell here. Head on down to officialjohnhowell.com where you can get loads and loads and loads of more free education, where you can get more education on trading techniques, mindset, options, and so on and so forth. So head on down there, and remember, this is John Howell. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.